Welcome back to yet another presentation on assessment of program educational objectives and program outcomes. Before we jump into the presentation itself, let us see a few things. If we always do what we have always done, then we will always get what we have always got. There will be stagnation and no progress at all. If you have to come out of that stagnation, constant interaction among the faculty members, exchange of ideas and dialogue among faculty members is needed, and this is what assessment process gives out as one side outcomes. Okay, but that in itself is not sufficient, because the important question is not how assessment is defined or undertaken, but whether the assessment information is used by us. Let us all understand that what all we are doing, if we continue to do and put them to use, think and try to improve, then we'll have one of the best academic practices in Andhra Pradesh or India or even in the world. Okay, the prerequisite of this presentation is that we are assuming you have watched a video about course outcome attainment calculation and studied about 2 hours of related materials. Then you have calculated the attainment values of courses, then discussed these things with your colleagues. Okay, with this we put the standard disclaimer that this presentation is made with the idea to set the mood and get the ball rolling. It's not the top of the world best presentation. We need to improve on what is presented here through group work. So if you have any question or comment, please do bring it up to me. I'll be very grateful if you do that. The outcomes of this presentation include that you will be able to illustrate direct and indirect methods of assessment. You'll be able to design forms for conducting surveys as indirect method, and perhaps use Google Forms to conduct surveys. With this, we will see a brief outline of this presentation. We'll try to define a few terms, and then we'll see what is the attainment procedure per se, then direct PEO attainment, direct method of calculating PEO attainment, indirect method of assessing, then PEO attainment, and what next. That is the next step that we need to undertake. Okay, with this we'll define a few terms. We'll define a stakeholder to be any person who is directly or indirectly affected by our curriculum, and these stakeholders obviously include management, teachers, students, parents, employees, and general citizens. We have two terms, assessment and evaluation. Okay, very often we tend to use them synonymously. It's not a great misconception, misnomer to use one in place of the other, but let us be clear. Okay, go through these definitions and it will be clear to us. Then we have what are called direct methods of assessment. All these methods of assessment, they apply while the student is still in campus. They may be continuous assessment tests, end semester examination, presentations, assignments, Viva OC, all these things while the student is in the campus. We can observe directly the performance of the student by use of various instruments that assess. Okay, these will give evidence of learning that is taking place by the student. The other kind of methods for assessment are indirect methods. They will involve obtaining information from stakeholders about the graduates' knowledge and skills. Okay, these will kind of give a perception of learning and how this learning is valued by different stakeholders. Okay, when we talk of assessment of program outcomes or program educational objectives, we need to see how these are perceived by somebody outside the institution, a stakeholder outside the institution. That stakeholder can include employer, maybe the parents, maybe the society in general. Okay, this is equally important. We'll try to touch upon direct and indirect methods in this presentation. With that, we come to the next slide, which I think I have plagiarized from the presentation by Dr. S.V. Ramana, who was here, I think, a month or two ago, that is October 18th or 19th. Okay, that includes this kind of a picture. When we begin assessment, the first step we try to do is course outcomes. How course outcomes are attained, what is their attainment value, whether it is satisfactory or not. And this typically is done immediately after the completion of the course. We have seen a little bit about this course outcomes and what kind of a report we generate. Faculty course assessment report. And then program outcomes. These program outcomes we assess when the graduate goes out. Each year when graduates pass out of the institute, we will assess whether all the outcomes are achieved by the graduate or not. The next thing that we try to assess is program educational objectives. This is after 4 to 5 years of graduation, where the students are, what kind of qualities they retained, whether those qualities are in line with what we have predicted them while we formulated program educational objectives. Okay, we have already seen course outcomes. These two are kind of things that we are trying to see in this presentation up to some extent. Remaining study, we expect that each faculty member does on his own. Okay, we'll see a direct method of PEO attainment, how it is done, and perhaps maybe 5 minutes or so. Okay, PEO attainment verification needs to be done at the end of each year to evaluate the attainment of outgoing graduate batch. When each batch goes out, we need to verify whether that attainment is done or not, and if it is not done or it is done only merely satisfactorily, we need to do some kind of adjustments in the curriculum or teaching methodology, or some modification is needed to improve upon it. Okay, I'll try to show a little Excel sheet here, okay, which gives an example of what kind of data we use. Okay, the column A here, all these items that are shown here, they include all the individual courses. Carefully notice how I named them. 1-1 mathematics, 1-1 engineering physics, that is first year, first semester mathematics, first year, first semester physics, and so on. We list all the courses that are there in the course structure, and each course has outcomes, one or more outcomes, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 outcomes, and these outcomes correspond to some of the program outcomes. Okay, we have seen that mapping course outcome to program outcome. We may have a course which is mapping to more than one PEO. In fact, each course outcome can map to more than one PEO. According to that mapping, we assign what is the score obtained here. For example, hypothetically, this mathematics has a score of these three: 1.25, 1.25, 2.2 for PO1, PO2 and PO3. Similarly, for the next course, you'll write what are all the POs that are attained through that course, and so on and so forth. This I took it to be the last course in the course structure. Project work. Typically, this project work is one course which gives attainment in PO 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, most of the other courses will have attainments from PO 1 to PO 5 or at most PO 6. Project work has all these. So you list all the courses and then you list corresponding attainment values for mapped program outcomes. You take an average of these. You can see the formula here, average something here, average of all the cells shown here. Okay, and you copy all this to get a nice little tabular values 1.25, 1.15, 2.1 and so on for all the POs, PO1 to PO12. Okay, and once you do that and plot it, more or less the graph shown here is a signature of the program outcome achievement during that particular year. If you carefully notice the naming convention used here, 2011-15, okay, 2011-15 is the academic year, 11 to 12 academic years, 4 academic years, 11 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, 4 academic years during which a BTech mechanical engineering student has studied, and it is a statement of PO attainment sheet. Use some nomenclature in the department, okay, consistently so that you don't get confused. The moment you see a file, even before you open it, you should know what that file is about to contain. So this kind of exercise you need to do it for each year, that is 2011 to 15, 12 to 16 or whatever, okay, for at least 3 batches of students. Okay, this constitutes direct assessment of program outcomes. Okay, I'll send you this Excel sheet as an example so that you can build on it or further improve it and modify it. Okay, the next 2 items we kind of see in unison because they involve in some sense building a questionnaire, mailing the questionnaire to stakeholders and receiving the feedback and analyzing them. That analysis part of it I'll slightly differ. We'll look at it at a later date, but what kind of forms we build, okay, and what kind of inferences we can draw, that is what we will see in subsequent discussion. Okay, this PO attainment through indirect method involves surveys and interviews of the stakeholders, and they assess opinions or thoughts about the graduates' knowledge, and it's a perception of learning and how this learning is valued by different stakeholders. Okay, exit survey is one such survey. Students passing out of each academic year, and this can be used as a qualitative assessment of program outcomes. Survey of alumni, okay, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, those who graduated 4 or 5 years ago, we may send a survey form with probing questions to the alumni in a certain way to infer about program outcomes as well as program educational objectives. Okay, we will try to see a few other tools. We'll kind of give a summary of direct or indirect tools, and then we will see how to build one such online form on Google. Okay, course exit survey. Typically, a faculty member is expected to undertake a course exit survey. This exit survey is an indirect survey to determine the quality of the course and how the course outcome attainment can be improved in future. Okay. Similarly, I have project evaluation. Okay, a group of students present a project work that they have undertaken, and the students are assessed. This is a direct assessment because the evaluation goes real time while the student is undertaking the undergraduate study program. Okay, especially in the case of this project evaluation, we need to talk about rubric for evaluation to be very rigorous, to be very transparent, and just a kind of a system. We need to have a rubric. We'll talk about it at some point of time. Student exit survey. This is an indirect method. Okay, when the student has completed his education and he's leaving the institute, it is at that point we kind of take this survey. This evaluates the success of the program and providing students with opportunities to achieve program outcomes. So this kind of student exit survey is taken to evaluate or assess program outcomes. Employer survey is again an indirect method. This can be used to check about program outcomes and also see whether educational objectives are met. Okay, again, alumni survey. This can be used to assess program educational objectives and program outcomes. Okay, this information kind of identifies which areas of the program should be changed or improved or expanded or curtailed, and so on and so forth. With this, we will consider one statement of PEOs and POs and kind of try to develop a questionnaire and then use Google Forms to design a survey form. These steps we'll do one by one, slowly going over. Okay, so this is what we considered. Okay, a hypothetical case. You have 3 program educational objectives: PEO 1, PEO 2, and PEO 3. Okay, those 3 are shown over here. Okay, PEO 1, PEO 2, and PEO 3. Okay, one is pursuing higher education, collaborator, inventor, and lifelong learning. Similarly, the program outcomes considered hypothetically for an electronics and communication engineering. These are the 12 outcomes we considered. And what we kind of try to do is we kind of try to build a questionnaire that will kind of assess the attainment of these POs as well as the POs shown over here. Okay, very strictly speaking, we can have one form solely for checking on these POs through indirect method, that is through an alumni survey, and another form solely to assess the outcomes, program outcomes. But somehow I thought we can combine both of them, put together, and include into one form. Okay, that form we will build on a Word document first. Okay, again you can see the name given here, 2015, indicates the year in which the survey form is built. ECE is the BTech ECE is the program, and the name alumni survey form. Okay, it's really simple, straightforward, but just for the sake of continuity, I'll go through it. Okay, the heading here shows ECE alumni survey form, and there are several kind of questions. Some questions are statement answer questions. For example, please indicate the duration of the study. Okay, here it is a short answer, one little answer is given. Whereas some other questions, they are multiple choice questions. Are you planning to pursue higher education? You have several kind of options here. Okay, yes, I'm already enrolled, I'm planning for higher studies, I completed my PG program, and no further plan, I have no plan for further studies, and so on and so forth. If you kind of look at these questions, okay, for example, are you planning to pursue any higher studies? Okay, this question directly pertains to PEO1. The PEO1 says within a few years after graduation, the graduates will be pursuing higher education. Okay, so if the answer to this question is yes, I'm already enrolled for higher studies, if this is the answer, the PEO is satisfied. Or if he says I'm planning to undertake such a thing immediately, maybe 1 year or 2 years later, this also indicates that the PO is satisfied, and this is satisfied more than necessary. He not only undertook one study PG program and also wants to go for a doctoral program. This is achieved more than what is envisaged in PEO. I have no plans for further studies. If he says that, okay, it's not achieved. So in essence, what we do is we count number of students who said this, or number of students who said this, number of students who said this, number of students who said this. Okay, in the total number of survey forms we said, we'll count how many are this 1, 2, 3, first 4. Okay, and we count how many people said have no plans. Okay, if out of 100, 20% said I have no plans, and remaining 80% fall into one of these 4 categories, we say that our PEO1 is achieved. 80%, because 80% of the people gave one of these 4 replies. Okay, note here that we are not directly asking him, did you satisfy PEO1? No, we are not asking such kind of questions. We are kind of asking probing questions. Similarly, notice the second question. Okay, what is your current career position? The reason why we included this kind of a question is, okay, in PEO2 we said effective collaborators, innovators, and leaders in their line of chosen profession. If this is the case, those guys, if PEO2 is satisfied, if PEO2 comes out to be true, the employees, they'll be somewhere in middle level management, maybe senior managers or shop floor supervisors, or slightly above that role, and so on and so forth. So we don't directly ask, are you an effective collaborator or innovator? Instead, we'll pose the question as shown here. Okay, what is your current career position? Okay, I'm employed. If he's simply employed, he's not in a leadership role. If he is somewhere here, okay, in the middle level management in the organization, then he is very good collaborator and very good kind of guy who works well with people. Okay, and we ask a short answer question again, whether he is in entrepreneurship, or again, look at this question. When you face a technical problem as a part of your job function, do you seek help from a colleague very quickly, or you work on it for some time, or delegate the task? This question kind of stems from probing in to see, okay, whether he has lifelong learning. A person with a lifelong learning tendency, he will not simply leave a problem. Okay, he will try to work on it for some time. He'll try to learn it, and then he will ask for help. You can see that this question kind of looks for PO3 as well as one other one other PO. If you look at PO number 12, sustain everlasting curiosity into the unknown and have an attitude of attention to detail. Even if the problem is relatively small problem, he will kind of try to solve it on his own, and then if he cannot do it, then only he will try to delegate. There are several other questions which stem from either PO or PO. All these are probing questions. As a sample, I'll send this file to you, and I would strongly encourage each and every one of you to go through these questions and see the sample PEOs. I'll send both the files, that is this sample PEOs as well as the questionnaire. Okay, again I would strongly encourage you to keep in mind the naming convention that I used. Have a naming convention and uniformly follow it in the department. That will save a lot of trouble in the long run. I'll send both these files to you. Once this file is written, then you can use this to generate a survey form. Typically in the grand old days, we'll design a form, send it to a graphic designer, make 1,000 copies of it and send all these by post, get the data, analyze, and then draw inferences. But very fortunately, Google has done all the tasks very simple. So we'll try to use Google Forms to design the form. We'll stop right at using Google Forms to design the survey form and send it. Okay. The Google Forms can be accessed at www.google.com/forms. Okay, and you have here, go to Google Forms, click on Google Forms, and it requires you to log in. Okay, I'm choosing principal@guide.ac.in, and you can choose HOD .mech at guide.ac.in or hod.csc or civil, whatever, and you enter your password to log in. Okay, it is loading and it is giving forms. I already started one form here. I'll go into it. It's asking for a form title, and I will say ECE survey, and then a brief description: survey form to be emailed to ECE students. I would strongly encourage you to keep a list of emails of all the students, and you can see the question 1, you can make it to short answer, because question 1 here is, please indicate the duration of your study. So what I'll do is, I'll go here, then cut it and paste it here at question 1. Because it's short answer, it doesn't ask anything more. You can see that the next question, are you planning to study, are you planning for further education? Okay, that you can copy. Similarly, you have, are you what is your current career position? Okay, you have one question, what is your current career position? Please indicate your higher education. When you face a technical problem, what do you do? Okay, so you take each question and paste it in. Each time you paste a question, make a choice, whether it is multiple choice or short answer or check boxes or drop down. and so on. Each time you are done, you can add a question. For example, if I want to add a question here, I have added a question. Okay, that question, let us say we'll add this: are you planning for higher studies? Cut and come here and put the question: are you planning for higher studies? It's a multiple choice question. Choice 1 is yes, I am enrolled for higher studies. Cut, and then option 1, paste, then add another option. Okay, then go here, I'm planning for higher studies. Cut and paste. Okay, when you have another option, add another option. Okay, then I completed my PG and want to do doctoral program. Okay, and you do that and add another option, and I have no further plan for studying. Okay, post it, add another option, and then I have no plan for further studies. Control X. Okay, and then I paste it here. I'm trying to cut here to see that accidentally I don't create a duplicate question or a duplicate answer. At the end of all this procedure, I will not save the file so that original questions are retained. Once you do all this, okay, once you do all this, okay, I've added all these questions to save us time. Once you do all this, you can send it. Okay, there is a button clear send, and you say send, and let us say I'll put it to myself, principal at guide.ac.in, and say ECE alumni survey form, and you can write a brief message. Please fill the way. Your information will be kept confidential, or some such thing, some such reassuring thing, and then you say send. The form goes to your email, and in your email it appears somewhat like this. I am opening my email. You see ECE alumni survey form. Okay, please fill the survey. Your information will be kept confidential. Survey form to be emailed. And if you click here, the survey form opens, and I can fill whichever way I want. I'm sending some superficial information, and I'm kind of just going over it. Okay, I'm trying to fill the survey myself, and I click on submit, and the submit your thing has been recorded. Where it records, where it goes, we'll see some other time. I kind of did it just to give you an idea to begin with, and create a form of your own. Okay, now we come back to this next item. What next? Okay, you need to perform direct assessment of POs, because our prerequisite, we assumed we have done all course outcome attainment. We can compile it in the department to perform direct assessment. I'll send you an Excel sheet as a template, and then create one exit survey form in the form of a .docx, and create a Google form for exit survey. Create an alumni survey form .docx form. Create a Google form for Alumni Survey. I'll once again reiterate, decide on a nomenclature in the department and try to use it consistently. It may appear very silly of me to repeat it so many times, but I get survey form, that kind of a sheet, from 10 departments. If I save one and save the next one, the previous one is overwritten. To avoid that, have some kind of a name mnemonically. 2011-15 mechanical exit survey. The moment you see the name of the file, you have every piece of information available. Okay. I think we covered again kind of long presentation in a really short time, 35 minutes. Thank you very much for patiently listening through this presentation. And I for one strongly believe in synergy. If we all sit together and concentrate on the task at hand, we can improve what we are doing and remove any wrinkles, and if there are any mistakes, we can avoid them at an early stage. So if you have any questions, either come see me or send me an email or call me or send me an SMS. I'd be too glad to be of help. Thank you very much. Have a great day.